Hi, this is Ramna from .NETIQ.com. In this screenshot, I'm going to demonstrate how to make a WCF service library to WCF Web service and how to consume the same service at web client. I'm going to use the employee service. This is the service library, WCF services library. I'm going to use in my demo. Uh, to know more about the employee service, how I created, please see my previous screenshot. How to create a simple WCF service is the title of the screenshot. Please go through that and you will know more how to create a simple WCF service. Basically, the service is a employee contract. It has a few operations like adding employee and get employees by name and delete employee by ID. And we have the implementation in employee service. Basically, this employee service is a class is mentioned as a single. Means it's a singleton kind of singleton class. It's internally it's going to maintain all the employees, like what are the employees you add. It's going to maintain in process memory, and means even you get the employees from the same in process memory, same object. To know more about this employee service, please go through my previous screenshot. I'm going to add a new project to this solution. The project, you need to select the WCF service application. I'm just naming it as employee service .web. If you see here the .svs, the extension, this is the one actually we are hosting this svs file in the IIS. So if you see the default, it's created the service1.svs and the code behind file. I'm not using this, I'm just deleting this. And if you also see there is a service contract also, they created default one. I'm not using this, I'm deleting this. So I'm just renaming it as employee service. So go to the view markup. If you see here, we have the code behind file attribute. I'm just taking out, and if you see the service, they mention as employee service.web.service1. Since we are not using the service1, before that I'm just adding the reference of employee service. Just rebuilding and add reference employee service. Okay, and I want to add this employee service. So I just mention the code behind file as the service as this employee service. So whatever the implementation we did here, we are attaching to the .svs file. So the .svs file is going to host at the IIS server. It's like, it's a kind of web service, WCF web service. So I'm just using the existing service attaching to the .svs file. Take the namespace class name is also the same. Maybe I should go with a different one, but I mentioned. Okay, so our service is ready. WCF means web service is ready, but we need to configure it. Web.config, we need to configure the WCF service endpoints and everything the same way we need to do. If you see here, it's pointing to the old .service file. We need to change this. And before this, I need to build. Sorry for that. Make sure you need to build this project before you configure it. Yeah, I prefer the best practice is use the configuration tool so that there won't be any mistakes or typo errors. Okay. So go to the bin folder and go to the web service. So employee service is the service we are using. So go to the endpoints. If you see this one is showing the iService one, but we are not using the iService one. We need to pick the right one. The iEmployee is the service contract. If you want, you can change the name here. The service one behavior it is showing, but if you want, you can change the service one behavior name also. can ignore it, but yeah, you can name employee service behavior, so it is going to reflect over here. Okay, if you see here, our endpoint employee service dot endpoint binding is WSHTTP binding, and the contract is iEmployee. Okay, means those changes are updated in our web.config. Now our web service is ready. I just want to make sure it's running without any errors. So I want to make this project as a set as a startup project and set as view in browser. See, so means there is no errors. It's giving the definition of the service. So next I'm going to add one more project, that is my web client. Already I have one web client. I'm going to use it, the same one. So I'm going to, this is our web service project. I'm going to, I already have one UI project. It has the service. I'm just deleting that. Make sure I want to show it from starting, how to add the service reference and how to consume that service. Okay. I'm just running the web service again for the copying the URL, the service URL. So here I'm going to add a service reference. We have three different options: add web service and add service reference. We need to pick the add service reference. The add web reference is for the our old traditional ASMX web service, but since it's a WCF service, you need to pick the add service reference, and I'm adding this one. And so employee service, the namespace whatever you gave here, it's going to means we are going to use the same name at our client side. I'm just naming it as EMP employee service. So means if you want to make means all the calls as asynchronous, you can mention that. It means you can make the asynchronous calls also here. We can discuss that later. Just I want to make sure all the lists, like for we have one operation called get employees by name. It is returning the list. If you leave it like this, it is going to convert as an array, but I prefer to make it as a list. So it's going to defaultly wherever you have the list, it is going to consider as a list, and it is going to return the list. Otherwise it is going to return as an array. There is some limitations, means some pros and cons between arrays and list. So I'm adding the service reference. Yeah, this is the one. This is the service reference. So if you go to the reference class, you see this. We have the employee object data contract, and we have the iEmployee service contract and the employee client. Employee client is the class actually we need to use, and before that I'm going to use this. So I have a default.aspx page. In code behind, actually in my code behind, I already added the reference of employee service.ui.employee services. Just I want to make sure that both are the same. And if you see that, I just created a client employee client object, and this is the actually the client, it has all the operations, like you can add employee, you can delete employee, or you can get the employees. All the operations is all the operations are implement, means all the operation, all the service calls are means is existed in this employee client class. If you want, what I'm trying to do is, we have a I'm just adding the employee. Add employee method is expecting the employee object as the input. So before that, I created a employee object and assigned the few values, ID, name and address, and I'm adding the employee. And later I am just doing the list call. Whatever I added, I'm just doing a get employees by first by name. I'm just passing the size since we added now, so it's going to pick that and it's going to show the results. I'm just printing those results in ASPX space. I'm going to run this, make this project, startup, and view in browser. See, employee details, employee ID 1234, name, Sai, address, and cities. So whatever you added, you are going, means we are seeing the same thing in the different call, like get employees by name. If you want, we can add more employees and delete, means we can try with that. Basically what we are doing is, just we made it as a web service, and after that we just added a service reference. And once we added the service reference, go to the reference class .cs and find the client class. Always you need to find the client class. Okay, it has all the means all the calls, all the calls details, means your contract calls. So use this, just create the instance of the work. Always you create the instance of your client class and just call the operation methods. Simple, very simple. I hope it gives some minimum details how to convert the service library as a web service and how to consume it a web client. Thank you.